What is your expertise?
Okay, I have 57 years. 4 years were as a clerk typist for the U.S. Air Force. 2 of those years I worked for the National Security Agency, had a top secret clearance only because what I typed was confidential, but I typed a lot of forms, and I got that background, understanding the old manual typewriters, and from 55 to 58, and then I went into New York City to work for Hearst Publications, a few other ad agencies, and I finally formed my own business called Bergen Graphics. I finally wound up selling typography and graphics for people like Montgomery Ward, Hearst Publishing. I did all those blue books that they put in the garages for some time, you know, repair manuals, difficult things to do. I'm very experienced, very knowledgeable photo typographer.
And you work for the NSA,
Well,
National Security
When I was in the Air Force, I was assigned there. I guess you wouldn't call it working for.
Oh, you were assigned?
I was an airman.
You're an airman working for the NSA.
National Security Agency in Fort Meade, Maryland.
And this Judge English wouldn't even let you take the stand and give your qualifications.
To define an expert, in those years when phototypography was in its infancy and I entered the business, everything was hot metal. Remember hot metal?
Yes, I remember.
Okay. There was no school. You couldn't go get trained. I bought equipment, learned it, and did it, and became the kind of guy that somebody like Montgomery Ward, Toys R Us, Rolling Stone magazine came to me and asked me to do their work because I was considered the expert in Manhattan. Business declared me an expert. I don't need a judge to tell me I'm an expert. When I saw that birth certificate, I said, this is a forgery, fraudulent. I know typesetting. I know computer graphics since the inception of Macintosh. The beginning of computer graphics, 1986, I was there. Bought a little Mac Plus. Then I bought the bigger Mac. I'm working with Mac ever since. And the Adobe software, I know it thoroughly. And the minute I saw that birth certificate released online, and I saw that white halo, I said, gee, that looks just like the Adobe Photoshop filter does that. Why is that on this document that allegedly was typed in 1961? I swear to you, this document hasn't been within 50 years of a typewriter. There's no typewriter in evidence on that document, and yet they're supposed to be typed up with a typewriter. And that's what is in the briefcase. I would have shown the judge and convinced him, you don't have to be an expert to know this stuff. Everybody who's ever seen a manual typewriter or any typewriter knows that when you hit the keys, all the letters are the same size, and all of them are evenly spaced. Why are they evenly spaced? Probably people have noticed. When you hit one key, then the carriage moves 6 points to the left for the next letter. Because the carriage consistently moves, that would prove that if you type a lowercase a and a lowercase n, and you happen to have 5 examples of that on the same document, like Obama's birth certificate, all the distances are supposed to be exactly equal. That would show you that they are not exactly equal. In fact, they're all different. That's proof of forgery. That means what? That the forger didn't have a typewriter in 2011 when she made this document up. She went and got assembly of typed letters and assembled them together, and that's why she got letters that didn't match, because she wasn't careful. Do you know when you type on a typewriter, in the old days it was a common appearance, those long arms, they get bent a little bit, because 2 keys hit at the same time, and then when you pull them apart, you bent one.
That's right.
It's bent, it stays bent. On Obama's birth certificate, we have examples of cap H's that are perfectly straight, so it's easy to see, and we have a bent cap H on the same document. This means that the bent letter typed bent sometimes, and other times it typed straight. Impossible. Proof of forgery. Proof that the letters came from other documents. Some of them were bent, the same letter. Some of them were straight. It's right there for the naked eye. And that judge could have seen it across the courtroom. And he might have struck him that there's something she's saying that tends to be truthful, but I can't address that. For some reason, the courts, 277 courts in a row, have all declared that they're not going to hear evidence. Give me an hour in there, and it's goodbye time for the guy in the White House.
Is that probably why this was rigged and they wouldn't let you get on?
They can't let me speak. They can't. Because then they have to go and arrest him, don't they? If a judge says, yeah, I agree, it's a forgery, what do you do with the president? If he committed forgery, that's a felony. And if it gets him into the presidency office, it raises the level of being treason.
Between you and me,
What?
Should the president be arrested?
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's a forged birth certificate.
Felony. You can't make a birth certificate up, faked. It's a felony. Everybody knows that. He should be arrested for allowing it to be done in his name. Somebody else did it, but he attests that it was his. He knows very well.
And it was a sloppy forgery, wasn't it?
The worst. Bad. You can't. We have 24 points.
Are they laughing at us by presenting such a sloppy forgery?
Secretly, they're laughing at us and saying, yes, we messed up big time, but since we control the press, they won't. I can't take this to the New York Times. Why can't I take it to the New York Times? It's the truth. You people know typewriters. You'll know I'm right, and you'll have to say